The Covrprice top 10 list. We have video games. We have TV shows. We actually even have comic book storylines. Let's check out what made the top 10 list up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the description of this video for links to my whatnot, Instagram, eBay store, and email. We're going to get into the Covrprice top 10 list for this week, week of January 19th? No, 20th. I'll call January 20th, 2025. And we're going to take a look at the top 10 comic books. This is a list that I do every week. Covrprice is an independent third-party comic book pricing service where they call the internet and places like eBay, Heritage, other auction sites for comic book sales of both raw and graded comic books. And they also come up with articles and lists throughout the week. And this is one of the lists of the books that move most in the aftermarket. There's some new, some old. So let's dive into the list. Coming in at number 10 is Punisher, number 1 of the 4, although it was eventually 5-issue miniseries from 1986. This is the first solo title of the Punisher, and with Jon Bernthal coming back and playing the role in Daredevil Born Again. We saw the trailer for that show recently. This book is reaching probably $50 or so, $60 to $80 in a high-grade raw, over $500 in a CGC 9.8. Let's take a look at the Go Collect data. There are 4,400 of these graded on the census, and it being a book from 1986, only 13% of them are 9.8s. The book still does have value in lower grades. If we look at the current trends, I mean, an 8.0 sold for $100. I would say, 9.6 is still a pretty solid book at nearly $200. You could probably 9.4, 9.2s are going to be around $100. I'd be looking for this book in a 9.8. We've already mentioned the debut of the Muse and the trailer of Daredevil Born Again. However, it was also great to see so many returning characters. For a long period of time, fans thought the original cast of the Daredevil Netflix series was going to be replaced. It was to the great joy of all fans when we heard the names of returning characters. Perhaps one of the most anticipated was the return of Jon Bernthal as the Punisher. He makes a great entrance with menacing facial hair and a threatening axe. It is only a brief glimpse, but it is all fans need to start chasing down Punisher keys once more. While the first appearance of the Punisher in Amazing Spider-Man 129 may be out of reach for some, this book is just as fun to chase down. The Punisher's first solo series is a great book to add to the collection. Great. I mean, to me, that this is $500 is bananas. They talk about here a high sale of $199 and a 9.8. That's a 9.6. The ongoing series, which is also a great book in a 9.8, that is more like a $200 book in a 9.8. Let's take a look at number 9. And it is Ultimate Wolverine number 1. The book that just came out a week ago, the first full appearance of the Earth 6160 Wolverine. And this is a book that's going for about $10. The Ultimate Universe has been revamping our favorite heroes, and Wolverine is the next in line to get that treatment. Last week, fans were hunting down Ultimate Wolverine's first appearance in Ultimate Universe 1 year in number 1. This week, fans are looking for his first full appearance and the start of his first Ultimate solo series. The book was just released a few days ago, and like all the other Ultimate books, cover A is the highest trending cover to chase. I did read this story. I liked it. I also got, which variant cover did I get? Let me see. The one that I liked was the Bermejo cover, I think it is. This one, the Lee Bermejo. There's also a 1 in 100, which is much pricier, but I just thought this, I like the look of that. And it does have a look of the classic Logan. Interesting story and how this character is dealt with in the 6160 universe. One of my favorite reads actually in the Ultimate line. So it was a good first issue. I've been reading the Ultimate books, and I'm pretty much enjoying them. So I did like the first issue. If you've read Ultimate Wolverine #1, let me know in the comments below what you thought. Let's go to number 8 on the list, and it's all new Venom #1, the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. This is Bengus edition. It introduces the all-new Venom symbiote with an unrevealed host. Now, that is something that is intriguing fans of the storyline. I'm not reading this, but we don't know who the host is for the new Venom. All different speculations, but let's take a look at this book. Here's even more great artwork coming out of the Bengus portfolio. The trend of featuring unique video game artwork on comic book covers is starting to trend. Fans are loving the Marvel Rivals and the Marvel vs. Capcom covers, bridging a nearly 30-year gap in gaming. It just goes to show that certain games are timeless, and the joy of recapturing a piece of that nostalgic magic is priceless. There is obviously a big intersection in the Venn diagram of comic book collectors and video game players. And also, when it's a video game based on the comic book, even more so. So that is making these books particularly hot. Let's go to number 7 on the list. Speaking of video games, it is Amazing Spider-Man 65, the NetEase Marvel Rivals Edition. Going for about 20 to 25 bucks. This would be probably a preview of a 9.8. I guess some could have come out. It came out 2 weeks ago. Actually, no, because the fast track for moderns is like 34 days. So these books aren't coming back from CGC anytime soon, I don't think, unless like you might have snuck it in with an unlimited value. Some people are getting it back, but you have to be careful with that because these first ones that are going to come to market, the supply is going to be low. Much lower than the demand, but eventually it'll catch up because there are enough of them out there, I think. So this particular book, Spider-Man, is arguably, they say arguably, I say inarguably, the most popular Marvel superhero. His debut in Marvel Rivals was exceedingly well received. It helped the fan-favorite voice actor Yuri Lowenthal reprise his role as the web slinger in this game, having previously voiced Spidey in Insomniac's Spider-Man 1 and 2 games. Social media is flooded with Spider-Man combos with other heroes, and most of them are hilarious. While many people opt to select the webhead, very few have mastered his acrobatic playstyle. Still, he's a top pick for casual gamers who want to fight as their favorite hero, and now he's a top comic grab. This is the second time this variant has hit the top 10. I'm not really a big gamer, just don't have time for it. The only really superhero video game I played at all recently are the Lego Batman's games that I played with my kids. I love it. I love those, but just I don't have time to play video games, to be honest with you. So let's look now at number 6. And number 6 is Wolverine #4, Marvel vs. Capcom edition, Bengus. This is from about a month and a half ago, and it's about a $20 book. It is a a variant of Wolverine 6. Even though Marvel Rivals is soaring in popularity, there were previous games where Marvel characters shown. Marvel vs. Capcom is a classic series for any fan of the fighting genre. Marvel vs. Capcom started off as a hit, but the second in the series really blew it out of the water. In 2000, Game Machine listed MVC2 as the most successful arcade game. Years later, the game is often referenced as one of the best fighting games ever. To celebrate, the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection was released back in November. In continued celebration or marketing of these games, Marvel released several covers honoring the artist behind the portrayal of our favorite heroes, Bengus, even with these covers featuring Bengus artwork from his beloved games. So again, yeah, another video game connection. Let's go to number 5. And let's go back to late Bronze Age. Fantastic Four 247, John Byrne cover with Dr. Doom prominently featured from 1982. And it's the first appearance of Christophe Bernard, the adopted son of Dr. Doom. This is tying into comic book storyline. And high-grade copies are going over 20 bucks. 9/8 jumping to over 200. And you can see there are only 454 copies on the census, about 40% of them in a 9.8. And this was a book, if we look, it did approach $100 prior to the comic boom. Didn't get particularly high, except one kind of aberrant sale of $347, but now it's been selling kind of consistently in the $200 range since this has become a bigger key based on what's going on in the comic book storyline. It is a Byrne cover. And it is from 1982, so a little bit more difficult to get in a 9.8. If you thought that Christophe Bernard wouldn't ever be a significant character in the Marvel Universe, you're not alone. In totality, the characters made a little over 60 appearances across all Marvel comics. Fast forward to today, and Doctor Doom's adopted son is set to be a major player in the assembly of what will be known as the Superior Avengers. Not much is known about this team, except they're made up of Ghost, Killmonger, Malekith, Onslaught, Abomination, and Dr. Octopus. The team will be led by Christophe Bernard, who has made comic book collectors shuffle through back issues to find his first appearance. The new series is set to debut on April 16th and might lead to even more interest in this issue. Again, it's kind of been, it's a Doom cover, so it's always going to be a little bit more than other stuff in this Byrne run. Other run fillers, it's kind of reminiscent of Fantastic Four 84 by Jack Kirby, where Doom is kind of overlooking the Latvian, village there, and he's much bigger than the FF. So, again, just a cool Byrne cover to begin with, and then you add on this first appearance that is taking on more traction due to the comic book storyline. Has nothing to do with MCU spec, which is interesting and I think a little refreshing as well. Number 4. Well, this is MCU spec. This is Daredevil number 14, the first cover appearance of Muse. His first appearance was in issue number 11, cover by Dan Panosian. And this book is heating up. $50 for a raw, $1.25 for a 9.8. It is a 2016 book, so there are more of them out there. But let's take a look at this census count. Only 62 on the census. Only half of them are 9.8s. This is a book that is kind of been languishing in back issue bins, and people aren't really jumping over these, this particular volume of Daredevil. But issue number 11 and now issue number 14 have become hot, and you can see, it did sell for $42 in 2019, and then jumped to $161 last year, down to $89, and now the last couple of sales in about the $125 range. I think that's kind of a good fair market value based on recent sales. And if you haven't already seen it, do yourself a favor and watch the trailer for Daredevil Born Again. It has only been 5 days, and the trailer already exceeds 13 million views. And rightfully so. The trailer's reveal has reassured fans that Daredevil's return will match the brutality and grittiness of the original Netflix series. The last time we got a new series for Daredevil was back in 2018, and fans have impatiently waited 7 long years to see Charlie Cox don the mantle once again. Amazing that it's been 7 years since the 3rd season of Daredevil. Alongside the return of Charlie Cox is the introduction of a new on-screen villain, the Muse. The villain was long-rumored addition to the show, but many leaks verified that the Muse would appear. It looks like the official trailer has renewed fans' interest in the villain as we saw sales soar this past week. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is Mark Spears' Monsters. Number 3, the Bird City Comics double-sided, limited to 600 Bride cover. This is in pre-release and a pre-release 9.8 and 110. It's going for $60. Is this available just through a website? I'm not sure about this. The Bride covers, I think, is the most popular cover probably of issue number 1. And I think it's obvious why. I mean, for people who like their sexy monsters, kind of undead women. I don't know. Not necessarily my thing, but Mark Spears. And Mark Spears, I don't know how this guy produces the amount of work that he does. He's doing all these variant covers. He's doing the stories for this, and he's also been doing some covers for DC recently. So quite a prolific artist. I said he's the new Dave Stevens. One thing about Dave Stevens, though, remember, is there's a limited amount of his artwork out there. He's very much a perfectionist. Mark Spears seems to be working a lot quicker. If you follow Covrprice's articles every week, you probably already know everything there is to know about Mark Spears and his explosive growth in comic books. Last year, the launch of Mark Spears' Monsters led to a massive uptick in horror comic book cover collectors. It was a surprising and unexpected trend that was thought to coincide with the Halloween holiday. However, Spears proved this was not the case. His unique nostalgic artwork became a highly desirable collectible. It has been 3 months and these books are still trending. It makes perfect sense that this limited exclusive featuring the very popular Bride is already trending. The book goes on sale January 29th, and we're expecting tons of aftermarket activity from fans that didn't secure their copy. Now, is Bird City Comics do they... I don't really buy exclusives on, where you have to go to Bird City Comics. There, Indie Comics sold out. Sold out, that Wicked homage. So they do have a lot. Yeah. They would do some interesting covers. The Care Bears Nobody Sees homage. So, yeah. Again, I'm not a huge variant cover fan, but I guess this is where you go for your like Mark Spears Monsters. I guess maybe the color changes the back and front. I don't know. That's kind of cool. But at any rate, let's go to number 2 on the list. And number 2 is Storm. Number 4, the NetTease Marvel Rivals variant, which is selling for, I don't know, upwards of $30. Last week, we saw Magic, Venom, and Spider-Man Rivals covers at the top of our list. This week, a new contender entered the arena. The Marvel Rivals Storm cover has seen a massive surge in sales this week. Following its predecessors, the cover's artwork matches Storm's outfit and the game's aesthetic. When Marvel Rivals launched, one of the most positively reviewed points of the game was the artwork. The revamped presentation of the heroes turned many gamer heads, and it looks like that also translates to comic book sales. Also, there's a synergy between the video game and the comic books, which is good for comic book collectors because it shows first appearances of the characters, and that gets gamer fans who aren't really into comic books. Maybe some of them will now pursue the comic book behind their favorite characters that they may know from movies and animated shows and what have you, and not necessarily from the comics. Now, what is number 1 on the list? And this one's a bit of a surprise. It's Canto, A Place Like Home, issue number 6, the Flops variant, which is selling for about $45. I guess this is the final issue in Canto's first big story arc, 6-issue series. Is this it? Is this the last issue? Maybe it is. Again, I'm not a Canto reader, so I don't know. Let me know if you have any information. If you know Canto better than I, which is likely, because I've never read Canto. But this is the Flops variant, and it's pricey, and it came out a week ago. Canto is coming to an end. If you've been following this series, you are likely sad to see it end. Dark Horse promoted this issue as the end to a 5-year story spanning 29 issues. The final issue in Canto's first story arc is turning heads, especially with the phenomenal cover by Flops. Flops is known for his pulp comic art style, and this cover was an instant hit. This is more than pulp, it's like an action figure advertisement you might see like in an 80s comic. Having only been released 6 days ago, this cover's already hit massive amounts on the movement on the aftermarket and become a highly desirable collectible. The fans have spoken. They love Flops artwork, and we can't wait to see more covers in this art style. That's, people are clamoring for this. I know, there are people who love Canto. I probably should try reading it at some point, but let me know if you're a Canto fan in the comments. That's cool. Let's take a look at the runners up, the 11 through 20. And some familiar faces. At number 11 is the first appearance of Muse in Daredevil number 11. At number 12, the Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom Iron Man thing still going strong with Iron Man 150, just a classic cover. Magic Marvel Rivals at number 13, the first appearance of Lobo at 14. Witchblade, this Mark Silvestri homaging, I think, himself from Uncanny X-Men. At number 15, this is a 1-in-25 ratio cover for Witchblade. Number 16 is a G.I. Joe 1-in-10 from David Nakayama. At number 17 is Spectacular Spider-Man number 9, the first appearance of the White Tiger, who is going to be appearing in Daredevil Born Again. This iteration of the character, not his niece, who did have her own series like around 2009, I think. Anyway, number 18, Space Usagi, White Star Rising number 3, a Jennifer L. Meyer 1-in-10. Usagi still got strong fans. Interesting, this one popped up there. Mark Spears Monsters number 1, third print, the Nightmare on Elm Street homage, a 1-in-20. And at number 20, Spawn 1. So that's going to do it for the Cover Price Top 10 list for this week. Which books do you have? Which books are you interesting? I appreciate any comments you can leave. I'd like to thank you all for stopping by. In the meantime, you can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.